I did something on a recent cruise that I have never done before. I gave up control. I paid for an upgrade that puts someone else in charge of my entire vacation. They told me where to eat, when to show up, and walked me off the ship at every port. And I had no idea if that was going to make the cruise better or completely ruin it. And the weirdest part, almost no one knows this upgrade even exists. When I first saw the Royal Genie package in the cruise planner, I thought it was just a clever way to market their Star Class suite experience, but it turns out it's something else entirely. This version of the Royal Genie service is only available on a few of Royal Caribbean's older ships, the ones that don't have Star Class suites or dedicated restaurants for suite guests like Coastal Kitchen. And while you don't have to be in a suite, you still get a Royal Genie, which is basically your personal assistant for the cruise who's there to coordinate dining, shows, activities, and even port days, all tailored around how you want to cruise. It also includes the deluxe drink package, unlimited specialty dining, Wi-Fi, room service, and reserved show seating bundled together as one seamless experience. Now, they say the retail price for this is $300 per person per day, but I've pretty much always seen it at $240 per day per person and sometimes as low as $210. And since I was sailing solo, the cost was easier to justify, but for couples or families, it adds up quickly. But the real promise here isn't just about saving time, it's about offloading decision-making entirely, so you're just free to show up and enjoy the experience. So the question for me was whether that kind of service would actually improve my cruise, or just make it feel like I'm not in charge anymore. And that's exactly what I wanted to find out. Oh, and if we haven't met yet, I'm Evan from Family at Sea. If this is your first time watching my channel, I'm glad you're here. If you've been here for a while, you already know how much I appreciate you. If you're ready, I am. Let's go. 2 weeks before the cruise, I got an email from someone named Alejandra introducing herself as my Royal Genie. She asked me a few questions, things like what a perfect day to me looks like and what she could do to make the cruise more magical. Now, it felt thoughtful, but I didn't really understand how answers like that would change anything about my upcoming cruise. Still, I answered the questions, let her know what I was looking for, and figured we'd see what happened. Then, the day before the cruise, another email showed up in my inbox, this time with clear, detailed instructions for embarkation. Where to go, where to drop my bags, and when to be there. It was all spelled out in a way that already felt a lot more personal than other cruises I'd taken. And then came embarkation day. As I arrived to the terminal and stepped out of my Uber, before I could even scan the terminal for signage, a woman walked right up to me and said, "Evan?" I said, "Yes," and she smiled and said, "I've been waiting for you." Really? She'd been waiting for me? Hmm. So she said she would take my bags over there and walk me to the terminal where my Royal Genie is already waiting for me. And that was the moment it clicked. This wasn't just a fancier check-in, it was personal. And after a few quick shots of the terminal, I made my way toward the gateway to meet Alejandra. I told her I was ready to board, and without missing a beat, she smiled and said,
If you're ready, I am.
"I'm ready,
Let's
yes."
go.
Wait,
Wow.
wait, wait. She didn't just know my name, she knew my tagline. And I knew right then this wasn't going to be like any other cruise I had ever taken. She knew who I was, knew the content I create, and somehow even worked my tagline into our first conversation. And have somebody put that kind of research into creating an experience for your guests on a mainstream cruise line is completely unprecedented, even for me when I've sailed in a suite on every cruise line in America. And it was obvious. This was somebody who was truly passionate about her work. So I asked her. I'm here now with Alejandra. She's been my Royal Genie this week on the Freedom of the Seas. And Alejandra, first, just thank you so much for making this cruise as special as you have. Alejandra, what do you love the most about being a Royal Genie?
I always say I'm a very positive person, and what I like to do is make people happy. And by being a Royal Genie is giving me the great opportunity to grab all my skills together with all the resources that given by the company, by Royal Caribbean, and together we have a plan and a service to provide to guests so they can be happy.
From the moment I boarded the ship, it felt like the entire cruise was already mapped out, but in a way that didn't feel rigid or overscheduled. I never checked the app, I never had to think about what time dinner was or whether there'd be seats left at the show. Alejandra would just say, "Hey, your seats are held for the 8:30 show tonight, front row right in the center, just like you like, and I've got your drink and popcorn waiting when you sit down." And every meal, she'd be there waiting on me as I arrived with a smile on her face and ready to recommend her favorite dishes, which were all surprisingly great. She knew my preferences, remembered the little things I liked, and made it feel like someone had thought 2 steps ahead every time. If I wanted to change something, whether it's shifting a dinner time, moving a show, or making a new reservation, it was never a hassle, and she never made it seem like a chore. I just sent her a quick WhatsApp message from anywhere on the ship or even in port, and she just made it happen. And at every port, she'd not only escort me off the ship, she'd escort me all the way out of the port to meet with the tour guides I booked private tours with at the port exits.
Take care of my guests. I know you will. It's your friend.
One of the coolest things was there was even a private flow rider session just for Royal Genie guests. And well, I was the only one on the entire ship that had the package on the sale. So I had an entire hour session to myself. But throughout the entire 4-day cruise, there was never any waiting, no confusion, and no stress. The entire cruise felt effortless, like the friction of cruise logistics had just disappeared. And that's what got me thinking, is this what it's like for everyone who books the Royal Genie package, or was Alejandra just that good at removing the stuff I didn't even notice I was struggling with? So I asked her. So Alejandra, what is the biggest problem you solve for your guests that maybe they don't even realize exists?
Actually, I don't think we have problems. You probably would think, what would be the dinner time? What would be my menu? How am I going to get in touch with my stateroom attendant? That for a guest coming on board maybe for the first or second time might be a problem. But for us, it's not a problem. This is my house. This is where I live, where I work. I know most of the people, and I actually don't think I have any problem to solve. Once I get in touch with my guests, I will just put the information together and try to go in a way that you don't even know that you needed that or you had that problem. Everything should be solved. We are in charge of the seamless experience for all our guests.
That is so true. It has been completely seamless. It's been incredible. There's no question this kind of service changes your cruise experience, but that doesn't mean it's right for everyone. One thing to consider here is how much structure do you actually want on your vacation? When you have someone managing your days behind the scenes, a lot of decisions are already made by the time you wake up. Lunch might be scheduled at noon. Dinner might be confirmed before you've had a chance to decide what you're in the mood for. And that works great if you like efficiency. But if you're someone who prefers to kind of just go with the flow and eat when you're hungry or make plans based on how the day feels, it might feel like a little too much. And then there's the cost. The package includes a lot: drinks, specialty dining, internet, reserved show seating, and a full-time Genie coordinating it all. For solo travelers like me, it was easier to justify, but for couples and families, the price stacks up quickly when it's charged per person because it's not cheap, and even though the bundled perks take the edge off, you're still paying for a premium experience. Since this is the part where a lot of you are probably beginning to wonder if I was comped in exchange for this video, I wasn't. I paid for it on my own. Royal Caribbean didn't pay me, sponsor me, or even reach out. I've partnered with other cruise lines before, though they never get a say in what I share with you guys, but Royal has never so much as even acknowledged my existence. So what you're getting here is just my experience without any financial motives. Nothing more and nothing less. And while it worked really well for me, that doesn't mean it will work for everyone. So I asked Alejandra. So there's a lot of different types of people on these cruise ships. Who do you think the Royal Genie package is the best fit for?
I would say everybody should try it at least once. The first time cruiser will love it, will get so impressed and will never go back without a Royal Genie. For whoever has been sailing with us for a long time, that they already know the brand, they would realize that sometimes they don't try all the services that we have, and the benefits of the Royal Genie package will give them the opportunity to really explore more the benefits and the services in Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines.
And that is definitely true. There's a lot of things we've talked about over the last 4 days where it's like, I've thought about doing that and I never have. And she's figured out a way to make it work, and it's just really opened my eyes to a lot, and I'm really grateful for that. I've done enough cruise upgrades over the years to know that price doesn't always equal value. Sometimes you pay for marketing hype, sometimes you pay for peace of mind, and sometimes it's hard to tell the difference until you're already on board. And that's what I want to figure out with the Royal Genie package. It's typically priced at $240 per day per person, but when you break it down, the math gets more interesting. The drink package, specialty dining, and Wi-Fi are all included, and if you're buying this separately, you'd probably be paying around $80 a day for drinks, another $50 a day for the ultimate dining package, and $20 a day for Wi-Fi. And that's roughly $150 a day in built-in value. which means the remaining $90 a day goes toward the Royal Genie service itself. The frictionless planning, the priority access, and the feeling that everything is handled before you even realize it needs to be. And so the real question becomes, is that part worth it? And before I give you my answer, I asked Alejandra what she thinks people should consider when they're unsure about booking it. So I know as I was preparing to come on the Freedom, I was thinking about doing this and I kind of went back and forth and I decided to pull the trigger and I'm so happy I did. But what do you think is most important for somebody to really think about when they're making their own decision about whether this is something they want to do?
If you think about the Royal Genie service, that is worth it. Really, really worth it. Once I get to know the information, the personality, I would say, the personality of the guest that is coming, I would make a planner with all the things that and activities that the guest would like, and it would just grab everything in a very nice experience. And it's not only about the dining package cost, the internet cost, and the drinks package cost. It's the whole experience.
Absolutely true. Like even once you subtract the cost of those, like the value of what you get beyond that is far exceeds what the actual dollar cost is. So
It is a luxury.
yes, it is an amazing luxury. Yes, 100%. And she's right. It's not just about the perks or the upgrades. It's about how the experience is delivered and the intention behind it. So before I share where I landed, I asked her one final question. So I'd imagine a lot of people, this package is really going to be an entry point into Star Class on the larger ships. So this is probably going to be the first time they really experience the Royal Genie service. So if you were going to tell somebody that's thinking about doing this one thing about what they could expect, what they should know before their first Royal Genie experience, what would it be?
Well, just get ready to be pampered.
Yeah.
We work for this. It's not like this is my job and I just come to do it. Get ready to be pampered because we have been just collecting through the years and through all the positions that we have had. We have collected all these skills, and that's all I can say. Get ready to be pampered because this is a great experience to have.
I've had the butlers in the yacht club and the haven and the retreat and all of the above, and those are great in their own way, but this is truly something different. And I am so grateful for the last 4 days. A little bit sad that this has to come to an end.
No.
So we will definitely be back because it is that incredible, but really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me and to talk with the folks watching this, and truly grateful. So thank you. So when you consider everything that's included and you do the math and you realize the actual price is $90 a day for a level of service like I've never experienced on any cruise before, well, for me, that price makes complete sense. The perks themselves were great, but the real value was in how seamlessly they were delivered. I wasn't making reservations or double checking times. I was just showing up and everything's already handled. And truthfully, I've never had a cruise feel this smooth. Every detail was personalized, anticipated, and taken care of before I even had to think about it, which made the entire trip feel more relaxed so I could focus on the things that mattered the most to me instead of trying to plan what I was going to do next. Now, it's not a cheap upgrade and I wouldn't recommend it for every sailing, but when the right trip comes along and this package is available, it offers something I haven't found anywhere else in cruising. A sense of ease that carried throughout the entire cruise. And maybe the best part? Knowing I was walking away with not just incredible memories, but also a new friend. But here's the bad news. Too many people waste money on cruise upgrades that don't actually make their trip any better. They sound exciting and they promise more, but once you're on board, you realize you fell for marketing hype that didn't actually deliver. But the good news? You don't have to be one of them. I've booked nearly every cruise upgrade you can imagine, and I've seen firsthand which ones are worth the money and which ones are a total waste. So don't stop here, watch that one next, and I'll show you how to cruise better for less. I'll see you over there. If you're ready, I am. Let's go.